Welcome back, players. I'm Jack36Cancel, and this is Coco the Weiss Cat. And for this video, I'd like not only to welcome my regulars, but also anyone who happened to find this video either by searching for Hololive or by searching for that card game that Hololive is collabing with. For those people, the card game that Hololive is being released in, and the one I run this YouTube channel for, is Weiss Schwarz. It's a really cool TCG that has a lot of shiny and wonderful cards to collect and put into plastic cases to display next to your figures, or put in binders under your bed and never look at them again, but be really upset if anything happened to them. Alternatively, you can also build decks and play a fun game with these cards, with many other popular titles and franchises in the Weeb world like ReZero, Sword Art, Attack on Titan, and many, many more. The gameplay is very cool, and I'd highly recommend giving it a try. Very soon, I'll have a video put together that teaches you how to play, just for all of you Hololive players out there in the shortest, clearest, and most familiar way. My goal is to have that out by the time the set releases on the 29th of April 2022. But if you're watching before that, or I'm behind schedule as usual, you can still check out my regular video on how to play Weiss Schwarz up in the corner or down in the description below. But for this video, I'm going to talk about what's inside the Hololive expansion, or what to expect when you buy the product, and a bit of information on the cards from a gameplay perspective. In these videos, I typically highlight some of the set themes, give basic card collecting and card mechanic information, and then go over some of the standout cards. So let's start with a brief introduction. For those of you like me who didn't know what Hololive even was until you saw that it was coming to Weiss Schwarz, here's the basic idea. Hololive is basically a talent pool of big streamers that use virtual avatars and stream with personalities built around those avatars. It's kind of a cross between virtual reality and real life, where webcams are used in combination with a technology known as Live 2D in order to track the movement of real streamers while they do their thing. It means that their avatars capture not just their movements, but their facial expressions, emotions, and all those cute moments translated from the lower dimension of 3D to the higher and supreme 2D. They're called Vtubers, and these girls, and sometimes guys, do everything. They stream games, they collab with each other, they interact with their viewers, they sing, they dance, and they even have stories and dramas. Cover Corporation owns Hololive, which is the umbrella that contracts with and fosters these VTuber talents. While there are many independent VTubers, signing with Hololive is kind of the gold standard, as it's the largest VTubing organization bar none, and provides access to all the cutting-edge equipment in both AR and VR that makes really cool stuff, like full VTuber concerts, possible. And there truly is a VTuber for everyone. You have the innocent, cute shoujo, wholesome VTubers, the edgy, horny VTubers, and of course, all sorts of kimono Mimi girls. Each one offers something different to their audience, and have different, engaging personas and mannerisms to appreciate. And who doesn't want their YouTube super chats read out by a cute anime girl? And now, thanks to Weiss Schwarz, you can collect shiny trading cards of your favorite VTubers. It sure does help that Bushiroad, the company that makes Weiss Schwarz, also owns Covercore. So you can bet on future collaborations with not just the Japanese side of Covercore, but also English VTuber talents and more. But for now, let's talk about the Hololive set that's coming out in English here in the West. So Hololive Production is 144 cards that will feature members from the Hololive generations 0 through 5 and Hololive gamers. This makes it the single largest set ever to be released for Weiss Schwarz. Of course, these are all Japanese VTubers, but as a little promotion and likely a taste of what's to come, Bushiroad will be distributing promotional packs that contain one regular and one foil card featuring VTubers from the English and Indonesian divisions of Hololive. Each one of these promos have the exact same card text, so you can use your favorite EN or IN VTuber without worry. In addition to the base expansion for any Weiss Schwarz set, Bushiroad also makes a trial deck that's ready to play out of the box to give you a great way into a new set. But like everything with Hololive, we're getting more than the usual fare. We actually have 7 different trial decks, one for each generation represented in the set. And just to run down the names for those of you waiting for me to butcher all of these, Generation 0 is Tokina Sora, Roboko-san, Sakura Miko, and Hochimachi Suisei. Generation 1 will feature Yozora Mei, Shirakame Fubuki, Natsurio Matsuri, Akai Hato, and Aki Rosenthal. Generation 2 is comprised of Minato Aqua, Nakiri Ayame, Yuzuki Choco, Murasaki Shion, and Urizura Subaru. Generation 3 has Shiranui Flare, Shirogane Noel, my personal favorite Hosho Marine, Usada Pegora, and Uruha Rusha. Generation 4 is Amane Kanata, Kuryu Koko, Tsunamake Watame, Tokoyami Towa, and Himemori Luna. And Generation 5 will feature Yuki Hanalami, Momosuzu Nene, Shishiro Botan, and Omura Poka. And finally, the Hololive Gamers Trial Deck has Shirokame Fubuki again, Okami Mio, Nekomata Okayu, and the very popular Inugami Korone. So if you heard your favorite VTuber in that list, that's the generation trial deck you're looking for. So in total, 31 VTubers are represented in this pool of talent. For information on how the shiny cards are distributed in the set for all of you waifu hunters out there, let's go to this graphic. So on your screen is a list of different high rarities and special foils that can appear in any given Weiss Schwarz set. As you can see, Hololive features many of them, including rare SPs, which are hot stamped signature cards, SSPs, which are quite a bit more rare, which have the same hot stamp signatures as well as inlaid bordering, overframe rares, which in the case of Hololive are the box topper climax promos, and of course, this set itself is full parallel foil, so that means that every one of the 144 cards in the base rarity set has a higher rarity and shiny version, be that a triple rare, a special rare, which are shiny cards without signatures, or those SPs and SSPs, which are very much the cream of the crop in Weiss Schwarz collecting. If you want to know more about Weiss Schwarz rarities, how rare cards are in real numbers, and a vague idea of what they might cost, check out my How to Buy Weiss Schwarz video, which will appear at the top right corner and will also be in the description. In Hololive, there are 31 different SPs and SSPs you can pull, with each one featuring a different VTuber. In addition, each of the 7 trial decks combined adds 32 different trial deck SPs to the lot, one for each VTuber and an extra one for Fubuki since she appears in 2 trial decks. The base Hololive set has 65 different super rares, which are shiny versions of normal cards without signatures, including the few events the set has. It also has 17 triple rares, which are shiny versions of the set's 17 different climax combos, the 31 box topper promos, which are overframe versions of all the set's climax combos from the base set and from the different combos in the trial decks, also feature the 31 different VTubers. So really, no matter who your favorite VTuber is, there are shiny versions, signed versions, and rare climaxes for you to collect. Now, with some background about collecting the set said and done, let's move on to the mechanics, or how the set actually plays, and what cards do based on common mechanics we see featured in other Weiss Schwarz expansions. So in front of us now is a graphic that contains a wide range of common strategies, features, and mechanics that Weiss Schwarz sets can feature. By looking at this, and considering what mechanics and features a set includes or doesn't include, we can get a basic idea of how the set plays and what it brings to the table versus other sets. Now I want to start by saying that Hololive is a massive set. It has 150% of the card pool that most Weiss Schwarz sets have to start with. It also has literally 7 times the card pool that a trial deck would normally add to the overall Neo Standard set, and many cards in the various TDs are good enough to be included in competitive and constructed Hololive decks. Now to start from the most basic element of this, the set is universally traded, meaning that most card abilities, which refer to Hololive character, won't conflict with your choice to play one character or another, since all the characters are traded to Hololive. However, each character also has a second trait for which generation they come from, and while these aren't the majority, there do exist cards that work specifically with 5th gen or 4th gen, etc. cards. The set is also waifu focused, meaning that there are cards that directly benefit from seeing certain pairings of characters, like for example, Flair and Noelle have cards that work together, or Coco, Suisei, and Kanata, and you can make decks that highlight these pairings. You can also make decks that center around only one character, or 2 of your favorite characters, being that the card pool is large enough to support that. Now a lot of that sounds like nonsense, but here's a simple way to think about it. Hololive has so many cards and so many different characters that you can make many decks with as many combinations of different VTubers and it'll work just fine. Or you can choose to highlight pairings of characters, generations of characters, or just your favorite character, and there are elements in the set's design that make any of those workable. Make sense? So you can make a Suisei deck if you want, a Roboko-san and Towa deck, a 4th gen or Gamers deck, or even a deck where no 2 unique cards represent the same VTuber. Yes, all of this is possible, and you don't even have to eschew power or viability to do it, most of the time. But as for the rest of the graphic here, you'll notice that there are a lot more green check marks than empty boxes, and that's really the trademark for Hololive. It has access to so many of the defining traits for various Weiss Schwarz sets that it's easier to talk about what it doesn't have. This, of course, is in large part thanks to the set's massive card pool, but it's also a very intentional design choice. Not only do you have access to most any strategy and deck construction if you pick up Hololive, you also have strong redundancies with cards that have similar abilities but feature different characters, making it very easy to build your deck exclusively with your favorite VTubers. But let's get into the details a bit more. The only thing that Hololive really doesn't have is access to direct hate for certain mechanics. In Weiss Schwarz, there are cards that punish the usage of salvage triggers and abilities, standby, healing, and some abilities that stop burn abilities directly. Minus a single event that can stop auto abilities, Hololive doesn't really have access to any of this. However, mechanic-wise, it packs pretty much everything else. First off, the set has 3 different standby combos at level 1, 2, and 3. However, the set also has over 20 different other combos that are on 1k1 climaxes, and the ways to build your deck are practically endless. Interestingly, unlike a lot of other sets that feature other types of non-trigger climaxes, like 2 Soul, 2k1, or anything else, 29 out of the 31 climax combos in Hololive feature the 9 unique trigger abilities, and 26 of them are 1k1s. The only exceptions are this Kanata climax and this Luna climax, which are both +1 soul to all characters, and lets you put a level 1 or lower character from your waiting room into stock on play. The vast majority of these are on level 1 advantage combos and level 3 finishing combos, again giving you endless options on how you want to build your deck. But what else does the set have going for it? Well, everything. As far as the basics, Hololive has endless options for searching and filtering, a practically infinite suite of level 1 and level 3 combos, many different options for solid early plays, access to convenient mechanics like free-freshing and stock swapping, a myriad of change combos, and even some stuff with combine and merge with Roboto-san. See, here's the thing. If you can imagine a cardinal ability or standard card profile in Weiss Schwarz, Hololive probably has it. Which is why as we move to the part of the video where I showcase the standout cards at each level, things are going to be a bit different. Because there are so many cards in the pool to cover, choosing what to highlight without making the video that's 24 hours long is exceptionally difficult. So at each level, I'll briefly outline the myriad card profiles Hololive has access to, and then touch on the most popular and unique cards that I've found as I've poured over the set. And as always with set showcases, we don't as of yet have official translations for these cards, so if the text I've put together isn't 100% accurate, I apologize. So, ridiculously far into this video, let's finally look at some individual cards and start at level 0. But like we said, first we need to mention the sheer quantity of profiles that Hololive has access to. It has runners, rookies, chasers, top checkers, clock top checkers, drop searchers, front row beaters, clean cuts, and brainstormers. So many brainstormers. But to start by showcasing some really cool ones, here are 2 of the most popular and my personal favorites. First we have Rushia Uruha, Together Towards the Future. She's a tap self-searching brainstormer, which is already quite solid, but her second ability is actually an alarm effect. If she's at the top of your clock at the start of your climax phase, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 1 or higher, put it into your stock. Free stock for drawing extra copies of a solid brainstormer? Sign me up. The second brainstormer I'd like to showcase is Matsuri Natsuyo, Together Towards the Future. She's a tap self-salvage brainstormer that has a second act ability. You can rest her and choose one of your level 1 or higher characters and give them plus 1500 power for the turn. This kind of utility on a brainstormer is pretty rare and it opens up a lot of potential plays. Pretty cool. Now brainstormers of course aren't the only things at Zero to talk about. Another card I'd like to showcase is Sakura Miko, Sorry to Keep Everyone Waiting. She's a drop searcher that sits at a whopping 3500 power, but also gives your opponent's characters Encore 2. It's a drawback that ultimately balances her insane power for a drop searcher, but it's the kind of drawback that's easily played around and doesn't really penalize you in any real way 99% of the time, so it's a very strong card. And let's face it, this is some of the prettiest card art in the set. Now I usually showcase more cards before moving to level 1, but again, there are just so many choices. No matter what tools or effects you want your level 0 to pack, you basically have access to it. And besides, there's a lot to cover. So level 1 in Hololive is absolutely massive. Like level 0, it has access to basically any popular effect a level 1 card might have in Weiss Schwarz. These range from a Marine that's a Climax Salvager and level 1 Reverser, just like the Keiko from SAO, and the Polka that lets you pay 1 and put a cost 0 character from your waiting room to the stage, and send a memory at the end of the turn, just like Ramirez from Slime. And there are practically limitless cards at level 1 that get power on play, or on attack, or give power on attack to someone else, or under some conditions let you add cards to your stock, like the Finn from Adventure Time or the Rimuru from Slime 1. And of course, a whole suite of 1/1s with Quack and Hand Encore, early play stock swaps, and again, most any effect you might want on a level 1 for any deck you might build. But we haven't even talked about the level 1 combos, because there are so many level 1 Climax combos. I'm pretty sure Hololive just about has every variation of the advantage-driven level 1 combo ever printed. I'm talking both on-reverse and on-attack salvagers, both reverse and on-attack searchers, top checkers, top 4 checkers, top stalkers, the mill 2 cigarettes combo, search 2 pitch 1, and even the post-attack advantage effect that triggers if the card's battle opponent is reversed or the slot facing it is empty. No matter which of these combos you choose, most of them sit at around base 4 to 5k and get some sort of power on attack or play and are attached to a 1k1 combo. One thing to mention, however, is that no Hololive level 1 combo really stays big on your opponent's turn and creates a lot of board presence, but let's visit the more popular and unique ones. The one that I've seen used in most decks thus far is Watame Tsunamaki, Together Towards the Future. Base 4500, she gets plus 2k on your turn if you're playing the game, and her climax combo, on a choice, is that on attack, you mill 2 and salvage an X or lower character, where X is the combined levels of cards you mill this way. The mill 2 cigarettes effect on this combo is a crowd favorite, and the choice is a very solid trigger, making her a very popular choice for your level 1 combo. Another popular one seems to be Korone Inugami, Birthday Party, 4500 and on play plus 500 for each character. Her combo is also on a choice, and when she attacks, you can choose one of your characters and it gets an on-reverse search trigger. The nice thing about this one is that if you try-field this combo, even with one character on the opposing stage, and even if it's a runner, you'll still get your 3 searches off as long as you can outpower the battle opponent. And again, a choice trigger, meaning that it's a desirable and strong combo. Now, Hololive also features a fairly standard standby combo. Miko Sakura, Together Towards the Future, is 3500 but sits at 5500 if you're playing the game. She has a reverse salvage combo on a standby trigger. Now, will you catch too many reverses on 5500 power? Not really, but it's free advantage with standby, which makes it acceptable. One additional thing before we move on, there's a pretty unique alarm card at level 1. Nene Momosuzu is a 1-0 level 1 reverser, but if she's at the top of your clock at the start of your main phase, you get the free fresh. Not your typical free fresh, but very interesting. Now again, there are many other things we could talk about at level 1, but with the card pool being so massive and Hololive having access to so many abilities, it's more productive to say if you want it, it's probably there, and just move on to level 2. Level 2 in Hololive is probably the single largest level 2 card pool in any Weiss Schwarz set. Not only are there a great deal of level 2 climax combos, but Hololive has an absolutely insane amount of level 2 assisters. Many of these provide additional utility, like having secondary abilities that salvage characters, get free stock, top check, and even change into other characters. A great example of this is Toa Togayami, Together Towards the Future. Characters in front of her gets plus 500 times level, and when she's played, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 1 or lower, put it into your stock, thus giving you a solid chance of being able to play her for free. In addition, she has an act ability that lets you place her into the waiting room and move any character on your opponent's stage to an empty slot. This has some crazy implications for stage manipulation and makes her a very popular choice where level assists are concerned. Another one to visit on is Sora Tokina, #SoraArt, 500 times level in front with 2 other abilities. On play, you can pitch a card to salvage a level 3 Sora that's a defensive anti-soul combo, and at the start of your climax phase, you can pay 2 and put this card into your waiting room and change into that same Sora. As you can see, level assists in Hololive really have everything. The same is true for backups and counters, the other big player in a level 2 game. Hololive has level 2 anti-change counters, top check counters, and even rest counters. You even have a 2-1 3k Kanata counter that when you play it to the stage and play the climax combo, lets you change it into level 3 Kanata with that combo. And speaking of level 2 climax combos, we did mention that Hololive has many of those, but we all know that true level 2 climax combos aren't super popular. But that said, here's a compelling one. Shoko Yuzuki is a 2-2 8k with 2 soul. She has an ability that when one of your characters is front attacked, you can put her into the waiting room and give them plus 3500 power. This is a really cool ability because it gets around the usual anti-counter abilities a card might have. It's also great for stage control and standby decks, which is awesome because her climax combo is on a standby. During your climax phase, when she's placed onto the stage by the effect of Present from the Devil Santa, which is her combo, you can put the climax in the waiting room and stand her. This means that you have a standby target that's ready to attack that turn and really helps you with stage control. Really cool. So yeah, a huge amount of choices for deck building at level 2, but you know what time it is. Time to move on to level 3, which in Hololive is probably the most major element. Hololive level 3 is truly unlike any other level 3 game in any existing Weiss Schwarz set. You have more choices of climax combos to close out the game than you'd feasibly know what to do with. But the real crazy thing about Hololive's level 3 is just how much tech there is. In any Hololive deck, you may see some of the most diverse toolboxes of level 3 characters ever. So many level 3s in Hololive, just packed as a one or two of, give you access to very useful secondary finishing abilities, pocket answers to specific deck strategies, and popular tech options to help you control the game. Take this card for example, Ayame Nakiri, Together Towards the Future. If you have a yellow card and a blue card in your level zone, she gets -1 level in hand, and gives all your other Hololive characters plus 1500 power. And on play, perform the following action twice. Choose one of your opponent's characters, and your opponent chooses a character in their waiting room with a level lower than the character you chose, and then swaps them. So you get to level down twice. Combined with her power boost, just one copy of this card can completely change the power dynamic on any stage and totally reverse the flow of gameplay. Want more crazy tech? How about Sakura Miko #Miko art? All characters in front of her get plus 2k, and when she's played from hand, heal. She also has a Brainstorm ability, rest 2 and search for each climax you hit. So if you run her, you don't have to sacrifice your Brainstormer to set up a crazy stage. This is especially good in standby decks, where the 2 back slots are in high demand, and Brainstormers often get the axe mid-game in favor of juicier targets. But how about cards that totally cancel out entire deck strategies? Has your opponent set up a field of characters that make it impossible for you to deal damage or close the game? Have a taste of Hato Akai Summer Vacation. During the turn she's played, at the start of the attack phase, all players put all characters except this one into their waiting room, and she gets the following ability. Once per turn, when damage dealt by this card is cancelled, burn 3. Also, when she attacks, you can pay 2, pitch 2, and burn 2. Is this the ideal attack turn? Maybe not, but it's certainly better than attacking into a wall of negative soul or facing down backups and counters that will totally stop your endgame strat. Just as a one-of, she can totally turn the tide against certain decks. Another crazy card that shines in the center is Aki Rosenthal. If you have one or fewer cards in your hand, she gets plus 10k power, and she has Bodyguard, meaning that so long as she's standing or rested, all attacks made by your opponent are front attacks into her. When she attacks, you can also pitch 3 cards and just choose one of your opponent's characters and put it into the waiting room. So yeah, you want level 3 tech? Hololive's got level 3 tech. Aside from these more off-the-wall abilities, this also includes a suite of secondary finishers like mini Icy Tails or support abilities like stock swapping. Hololive also has several options for early play level 3s if you want to run those, with a lot of different generic early play heal profiles that come out on 4 or more characters or 2 or less climaxes. But I know what you're all thinking. How does Hololive actually close out games? Well, basically however you want to. There are cards like Rushia, which shuffle back cards from your opponent's waiting room to ruin their compression, or cards like Marine, which straight up burn on attack. No matter how you want to kill your opponent with extra damage, extra cards in their deck, or even make them mill out their deck and take extra refresh damage, the options are there. But that said, let's take a look at some of the cooler ones. One very solid choice is Koko Kuryu, Together Towards the Future. Base 9500, she gets plus 500 for each other character on your turn, and on play, heal. Her climax combo is on a choice, and it works like this. When you reverse her battle opponent, you can pay 1 and pitch 1 up to 5 times. For each time you pay the cost, your opponent puts the bottom 3 cards of their deck into their waiting room, and if there's a climax in those 3 cards, they take 1 damage. So potentially, burn for 1 5 times. This is pretty much a compressed deck's worst nightmare, meaning that it's a very popular endgame choice. But if that's not quite your style, check out Aqua Minato, Together Towards the Future. On play heal, and her climax combo is on a pants. When she attacks, if the climax is in your zone, you can choose one of the following 2 abilities to perform. You can either stock swap your opponent for up to 10 cards, or pitch 2 cards, look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put them back in any order, and then burn your opponent for 3 damage. This is pretty much the Kurumi from Day Day Live, which was so oppressively good that it ended up on the restricted list for English, so take that as you will. Speaking of finishers that are very similar to other good famous finishers, we have Toa Tokiyame, #Toart. When she attacks with a bar climax combo, you can pay 2 and pitch a 4th gen character, and if you do, deal 2 damage twice, very similar to Birdcage Yukina, minus the heal. This is one of those where you do have to build around the generation traits a little bit. We also have Aki Rose, Which One Should I Choose? On play heal, and when she attacks with her climax combo, which is a bar, you can pay 2 and pitch 1 to burn 4, just like Last Shot Sinon from SAO. But getting away from profiles we're more familiar with, let's visit some truly unique finishers from Hololive. Nene Momosuzu, Together Towards the Future, as long as you have 3 or more cards with different names in your memory, gets Hand Encore, and when damage you might take on your opponent's turn isn't cancelled and she's in the front row, You can look at the top card of your deck and put it into the waiting room if you want. She has a climax combo with a standby trigger, and when she attacks, you can put the top card of your deck into the waiting room. If it's a level 1 or higher, burn a 3. A very cool hybrid finisher on a defensive level 3 combo in a standby deck. A bit coin flippy, but still good. Something in a similar vein is Poco Amaru, in charge of red. On play heal, and she has a climax combo on a gate. On attack, you can pay 1 and reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a level 0 character, deal 3 damage, and if it's anything else, deal 1 damage. Again, a bit coin flippy, but potentially quite strong. But we need to cap out this showcase somewhere, so why don't we end on a solid and popular finisher that also happens to be my favorite VTuber, Hosho Marine. Marine, Together Towards the Future, has an ability where on play you can put 1 character on your stage into the waiting room. If you do, look at the top 3 cards from your deck, choose up to 1 to put in your hand, choose up to 1 more and put it into your stock, and put the rest in the waiting room. Filtering and stock building, very interesting. Her combo is on a gate, and it's nice and simple. On attack, pay 1 and pitch a character, deal 2 damage, and she gets plus 2k for the turn. It's got great fundamentals as finisher, amazing art, and it's a perfect way to end our Hololive showcase. I know players, that was a lot, and I can't stress this enough. There are so many cards in Hololive that deserve their moment in the spotlight that I just didn't have time to go over in this video. If I talked about every good card in Hololive, this video would be over a day long. But hopefully, with what we have here, you have a good idea of what Hololive offers as a set, and at least some idea of what you'd like to build. And there is no wrong way to build Hololive. And with a premium booster released in Japanese, and set 2 likely on the way, you'll definitely see more Hololive in the future. It's truly gearing up to be the most expansive and unique set in all of Weiss Schwarz, and I have no doubt that Hololive will represent a new and amazing chapter in the game's life. On the English side, you'll very soon see more videos from me, including a crazy Hololive set opening video, so look forward to that soon. And once more, I'd like to welcome anyone who discovered Weiss Schwarz through Hololive to the community. I hope you've enjoyed the content thus far, and I hope you'll continue to look into this fun little game with us. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.